go. So yeah, why don't we just get me off full screen already, dude? Bring your ugly mug up here with me, so we can just get right into the into talking about the Acolyte episode 4. What was it called, dude? The Day or some nonsense? Yeah, dude. So I just finished a second watch of this episode for fun, and much to the chagrin of your wife, who was asking why we were torturing ourselves with, or myself, with multiple views of the show. And I'll just repeat for the sake of repeating. It's because I just don't care. Like, we're watching this to have fun and do a little review, like a little team up thing. There's nothing in this show they can ruin for me. It's not Star Wars. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm ironclad, set up my mental defenses around taking this show seriously. It's so poorly done that I can't imagine people being upset with this anymore. What do you got to say to that, just as a concept?
It's a show that's become a parody of itself already. Like, it is, like, you can almost tell that they gave up when they got in the 4th episode. So I got my things too. I do think there was something a little bit better about this one. Like, I'll talk about that later, but overall, just it's High Republic, and I do have some notes from some insiders that I read earlier too that I want to talk about.
Okay, all right, we'll get to those things. Let's. Yeah, I think, like you said, this episode, I heard it best defined, I think, is this. It's the least harmful episode that we've seen so far. And that's terrible praise, dude. Terrible praise. It's a 25-minute dose of Ambien. Like, nothing happens. You wait for stuff to happen, nothing does until the end. And then really, the only things that happen are dumb for reasons we'll discuss.
And the reason why it doesn't hurt itself is that the bar's set so low, you can only trip over it at this point.
Oh, dude, you stole my line, dude. I use that all the time. I love that line, dude. It's like they buried the bar, and now they're tripping over like the dirt mound because they didn't pack it in right after they buried the bar to trip over. Dude, it's that bad. And I sat there watching it, and maybe it's because we're creatures of habit now, because we have watched a lot of small runtime things, like all the Disney stuff, like the Percy Jackson stuff, even though it's good, runs short. All these Star Wars shows and the Marvel shows run short. And I think when this show is over, that's going to have been my main problem with it. The Force is female crap is so laughably bad. I can't take that serious. The pronoun joke from this episode was so stupid that I just don't care. So I think really the only thing that's left is to say, it's like, my criticism of this show is that it's a Saturday morning cartoon, but nowhere near as fun or engaging. Like, it's 25 minutes, but it can't sell me any toys. I don't care about any of the characters. I don't care about the story they're trying to tell me. So even if they had doubled their runtime, it just would have been more of the same garbage. So I don't think I can use that as a criticism anymore, that's too short.
Yeah, I think I said this in the first review, and I think you agreed with me. It's a CW show from the early 2000s, mid 2010s.
It's Bad Arrowverse, like Batman, Batwoman, or what were the other awful one they did? Stargirl. Those two are like the lowest rated ones. And dude, it's exactly that.
Not including like Riverdale and all those other ones that are just
no.
The writing is just horrible.
Yeah, there's a million examples that we can touch on in this episode. I mean, part and parcel, like right up front and center in this episode, again, we have on the nose dialogue where every character is saying exactly what they mean. There's no subtext. They're re-explaining things we as the viewer just saw in several instances. We're like, dude, I know that just happened. You just said that to a group of people. You didn't need to pull me aside along with the main character and repeat what just happened in the meeting for my benefit. And the show wastes 2, 3, 4 minutes at a pop in multiple places having these useless conversations, which as writers we know, every scene must do what? Reveal character or advance the plot. Like, that's really all you need to do. Mm-hmm. And they refuse.
And you don't have to do it in such a direct way either.
Oh, right. Exactly. Exactly right.
You could dance around it. You can make it engaging. You can make it fun. You can say stuff without saying stuff.
That's dramatic tension, right?
But you don't have to sit
That's
there and
subtext.
go,
Exactly.
we need to go mountain A. We need to take path B. There will be monsters on the route. Like, duh. It's like, you'd be
treasure
like,
at the
hey,
end. Yeah, exactly.
they're over there. Yeah, way over there. And, you know, there'll be some peril on the way.
But then the visual you show is reflective of that at the same time, or you show the opposite of what you're talking about to create like a juxtaposition of emotion or tension or all the millions of conventions that we use in the craft to tell this story. But dude, I still don't know what the story they're trying to tell me is in this, because they've already betrayed their mystery, right? So we don't care about that. The only mystery they have left is the teacher, and I think I know who it is, and I don't care. Like, I honestly don't give a shit. I honestly don't give a shit, dude. I don't know if you do.
Who are you going with?
Just in
Plagueis
turn,
or
like, just lighter
Bane?
curiosity, dude. None of them. I'm telling you, it's not gonna be either one of them. There's two very obvious picks. They're characters on this show. I don't think they have the stones to bring in anything else. It's one of the mothers, or after this episode, I think it might be the dude. It might be not, what was his name? The fake Asian Ezra Miller guy that's with Fannie Mae, the poison dealer. That guy.
Yeah,
I think it might be him,
I
because
think it
they
might be the
leaned
green
really
lady.
heavily into it. She wasn't there. She couldn't have got there separately of when the Jedi went to it. I'm glad you brought that up, because that brings me into my second complaint with the show before we even do synopsis. Because again, here's the synopsis, guys. Both sets of characters need to go to Khofar to get to Kalnecca first. That's the synopsis. That's it.
That is
Mae and the poison dealer,
yep.
Jedi entourage. That's it. That's the synopsis. Who gets there first? Somehow they get there in about the same time, despite the fact that this show has a rampant case of, I heard it called teleportitis, and I love that term. We're going to use that. Mae and the poison guy bounce immediately after the events of episode 2, right? Yeah. After Torben first of his name, as you call him, after he drinks the poison and dies, they get out of Dodge and escape the Jedi. And the dude tells Mae, we're going to Khofar. It's a relaxing forest retreat. Top-notch dialogue, Leslie. So they were already on their way. So unless they had a scene where they showed me them having to spend time stealing a ship, repairing a ship, stowing away on a ship, we're to assume as the audience, they got on board the fucking ship and went. Meanwhile, the Jedi recovered Mae after she recovered Osha after she let Mae go, went back to Coruscant, hung out for a while, had a council meeting for some reason, like it's 2024 and we have Zoom, they don't have that shit, despite we seeing them have that shit. Don't use that. They go
no, that was in the future. That was in the future when they had it, where they're all holograms. That's 100 years in the future.
I guess so. I mean, even though, we force Skype or whatever. Yeah. So the Jedi are all hanging around, and somehow they get on board their shit, go to Khofar, and they're only literally minutes behind Mae at the end of the episode, reaching her destination.
To the point of them hearing her scream.
Yeah, right. They actually fought, right, because they heard the tracker and then they heard the scream. Right, exactly.
Dude, no, they heard her scream first when we get to
when she faked the trap.
Yeah.
Dude, spoiler. Dude, the show sucks. Dude, no one's watching the show. Dude,
I'm just saying if you didn't want to get to that point yet. Not spoilers. I didn't know if you want to get to that part yet.
Oh, dude, nothing else really happens. That's it. Like, shit doesn't happen for 15 out of 25 minutes, and then they get there and walk for 10 minutes. Bad.
She betrays him with the trap. Saying that she's going to turn herself in because her loyalties to her sister.
Why? From where, dude? None of that makes sense. None of that makes sense at all. It's an abrupt character change that's uninformed by the writing, unmotivated by anything we could read in subtext.
Something of conscience?
A crisis of conscience?
Yes.
No, but it wasn't, because she's still a dick after she traps him and leaves him to die for reasons. The master might go. You might be a guide for the master to bring him back here. Kill the Wookiee and go, or surrender to the Wookiee and go. It's all convoluted garbage. All of that. Oh, now she literally has a line of dialogue in this. I guess we don't need to run the episode. We're already well away. Never mind that.
Oh no, there's one scene I do want to show that I want in this episode.
We'll get to that right after this point, right? So she decides, Mae, that she has dialogue that literally says, "My loyalty is to Osha."
Yep.
What? Why? For what? Since
you
when?
You didn't know she was alive until like 5 minutes ago.
Right. And not even that. The last time you saw her, you tried to kill her.
You said you were
get
going to
that,
kill
people?
her.
She tried to kill her entire coven of lesbian space witches. And dude, you told her verbatim, you can't leave. I will kill you. That's how I'll get you to stay. If I can't have you, nobody can. And they ran with that and did it. So now all of a sudden, after she treks 8 hours into the woods, now I'm going to turn myself in. Thanks for bringing me out here. Thanks for being an accomplice to my 2 murders, bro. Because that's what happened. The Jedi let this guy go, right? With a warning. You remember that bullshit in episode 2? We'll let you out for the warning if you just tell us where you think Mae went, right?
Yeah.
Like, this show is so unbelievably stupid that it's just funny. It just is.
Now, one of the things I did like that they kept constant with, I would say what's left of canon at this point, was that their ship their ship needed something to help it go through hyperspace, and then it detached.
Yes,
I was like,
the hyperdrive ring thing. Yeah, that's
I'm like, oh, they kept that, and the ship's looking older was kind of nice.
Yeah,
you do flowers where you can.
I mean, dude, that's like a single daffodil poking up, like with the weeds on the pavement, like that crack in the sidewalk. You know what I mean? Like the city, it comes up between the bricks. Like, no, dude, no. Dude. There's so much other bad, stupid shit to weigh this down. Like the thing I was checking out before we jumped into the episode, because I didn't notice it, because I'm terrible with faces, and if I haven't seen a character a lot, like it doesn't, like I don't get it. But one of the Jedi in the council, Kai Adi Mundi, who's in Clone Wars, he's in the prequel trilogy, the guy with the big cone head.
Yeah.
I checked, and because I had the subtitles on, because I was looking for a character name, didn't see it. I went to IMDb and referenced the character list for the episode, and it's that guy. Like, it's not a different member of the species. It's him.
Yeah.
When you talk about preserving canon, dude, no, dude, it trashes it, because that guy's present 100 years later, which he would be dead because they have his birth date in canon, right? So they've already ruined it with that. But then you got to remember what he actually says in that episode. He's the guy that says, we haven't seen a Sith in 1,000 years. So he's now partial to this briefing where they've identified a Sith or Sith-like like presence.
Yep.
So like, no, there's nothing this show gets right at all. Spectacularly bad. It's almost like they sat down and said, hey, let's hire a bunch of people for the writer's room that don't know a damn thing and hope for the best. And that's what they did. So the hyperdrive ring on the ship was cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we got it. But one of the things that got me, and I joked about it for the whole night, is this scene I'm about to show you. So let me go ahead and pull this up.
Yeah, bump us over.
All right.
Make sure the sound is off.
The sound is off. So as you can see here, the ship is landing on and they're the race to the Wookiee, and then they have this little talking scene here, and like they're in this wooded area, and then he's walked over and he looks. He's like, But the best part comes next.
Let me go ahead and
let me go ahead and skip ahead to right here. So he's like, oh. He's in there. Like, I just saw that forest, this huge thing that's covering half the planet as I'm flying in. He must be in there.
Dude, it's just so stupid. Leave it on Basil for a minute. No, go back to Basil. Go back. Dude, what is it with Disney Star Wars, right? Because I think it started with the Porgs and like TLJ, right?
Yeah.
Just stupid critters that are there. And then in Rise of Skywalker,
I didn't mind that much.
It was Ewok replacement, basically. It's not bad, right? But then in Rise of Skywalker, you get the stupid droid smith guy that does the Babu Frick. They got the little thing that when he shows up in, it's like, oh, like that guy. We're going to add a clip to that because that's funny. They keep putting characters in that can't speak English. They can't speak Galactic Common or whatever they call it. And they're so fucking dumb. It's not fun to watch this jackass sniff at the air and like wander, because I don't think that's how tracking scent works either, by the way. I don't think you can track something hundreds of miles through open ground where there's not a lot of stuff to leave a scent marker on. That might just be me. I'm not that guy.
Also, this Wookiee's been living on this planet for a while. His scent's been all over the place.
Well, like, they're not even that. Like, we see them, they tried to be smart. Like, they tried to have the Jedi question the traveling merchants or whoever the aliens were that they were using the translator device. The scene you just had, right? And Jackie comes back, and I want to talk about Jackie in a second. Jackie comes back. That's the apprentice with the not Darth Maul. She's a race that's not. She's not that race. It's just similar to the crown.
Yeah,
the bone, the thorn or bone crown or whatever. Right? She comes back and she goes, "The merchants say the Wookiee went into the woods and hasn't come out like a year ago." And I'm like, hasn't he been there for like 10 years or some shit? Like his ship is embedded. That's his home. It's embedded in the forest.
and he was coming back from somewhere in the end of episode 2.
Like right, he was just, when he caught the poachers or the trespass. We don't know if they were poachers or whatnot. They could be
more like bandits. They found a ship. They're going to see what's inside.
Pirates or some shit. Right, something pointless because that's what I'm treating it as. Right, so it's just stupid. Like everything they do is fucking dumb. You want to talk about peak stupid for this show? This is the second time the Jedi Order, and they called it the Order of the Jedi, which just irks me. It irks me on a level like when I heard Luke Skywalker say laser sword. I'm like, no, motherfucker, it's lightsaber. Always has been, always will be. It's the Jedi Order. It's stop in the name of the Galactic Republic and the Jedi Order. It's not Order of the Jedi. You douche nozzles. Stop it. Right? But at every opportunity, if they're not making the Jedi in this show look like fascist child protective services agents, like when government came and took my baby, like that kind of thing, they make them look ridiculous. Like in any confrontation, Mae throws up the Force dust cloud thing in episode 2 to escape. Fine, you got away with the sucker punch once. At the end of this episode, when we think we finally get the big reveal, and we'll talk about it like in depth later, like predictions and all that, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
They're calling this character Smilo Ren, which I think is hysterical because of the mask, right?
Yeah.
Calling him Smilo Ren. He flexes, or she, or they, or whatever, like force pushes 8 Jedi, right?
Yep.
Including Saul, who has the rank of master at this point.
Yes.
So they're not all Padawans. They're knights at least, except for Jackie.
Yep, she's the only Padawan there. The rest of them are
8 of them all get rippled and thrown into the wall. Like, no. Why are you so ineffective at your jobs? Like, why are you Paul Blart Mall Cop, Keystone Cops? Like, stop looking stupid. You guys are elite. That's the whole point. That's the whole mechanism behind your legacy and reputation is your top. You're the 1% of the 1%. This show is absolutely appallingly stupid in what it does. Appallingly stupid. I don't know what to make of it, man. I really don't know what else to say. I only have one more. You mentioned is there another scene you wanted to get into? I only have one more, and it's about Kalnecca.
There's one more, and it has to do with the death of Kalnecca too. Like this is what my part of the of a good
run with it.
Cinematic thing. So you see here we got Chewbacca with his flesh wound lightsaber wound. You know, because he dies from this
because apparently only men can die from lightsabers. I wanted to point that out. If you've got ovaries, you're safe from getting run through with a lightsaber, but a slash to the stomach.
Oh, yeah, you can't see my mouse on the screen. I was pointing at the lightsaber wound, but this is the scene that I thought was actually done pretty good. So they zoom in, you can see that they got a little dolly push going in.
Yeah.
And then they have her face, and he goes, "He's here," and then the color, just the light in the background
darkens.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. I thought that was pretty nicely done.
Here's why I didn't like it. A couple of reasons. I get on a visual level.
It's visual okay, level.
Visual only. Story wise, hate it. And I'll tell you why. So this chick, Fannie Mae, has a kill list, right? The 4 Jedi she wants to kill.
Well, she's already had the change of conscience at this point. She's going to turn herself in.
That's irrelevant to the point. True, but it's also stupid. So Darth Trinity. I keep calling her Darth Trinity. I don't know why I do that. It just sounds better than Jedi Master Trinity, I guess. So like Jedi Trinity, stupid death.
Yep.
Corbin, first of his name, stupid death.
Tomlin, first of his name.
Tomlin, first of his name. He's Torben in this. He's Tomlin.
Yeah.
Tommen, I think. Tommen.
Yeah, Tommen.
In this show, the only other interesting character that I wanted to see was Kalnecca. This dude has been in 3 of the 4 episodes, has had no shared dialogue that anybody interacts with, and then
Except for like a
dies
quick
off
growl
screen.
here, like
He
growl
he
like two
growls to
times.
alert them to the presence of the children. Nobody
Yep.
responds to it, and then otherwise
He
it's assorted growls.
he
Like
he
Chewie said.
growls at the bandits and pulls their weapon away and
Right,
breaks it with his hands.
right.
And then
But
he's cooking his vegan dinner.
that's which is hilarious that they actually think I believe that. Right? If you're 8 feet tall and you weigh 600 pounds, you're a carnivore. It's just how it works. Sorry, except unless you're a dinosaur, I guess. But no, I only wanted to see him. I wanted to see an 8-foot Wookiee tank some battle droids or some shit and be a Wookiee and rip an arm out of a socket. He died off fucking screen for nothing. For nothing. There was no setup that his home was being invaded, where we get flashes of the hidden assassin. We don't even get him drawing the saber, even if he didn't get a shot off or an attack off, a parry, anything. He died in his chair. In his chair, which then somehow turned around to face the console away from the door. Okay. I mean, unless there's some Michael Myers shit and the body got staged to face away for that dramatic dolly shot you were talking about. So again, visually, I mean, I guess it was okay, but it was fucking dumb. It's a waste of yet another character. They've done all 3 Jedi rotten now.
Yeah, because I mean,
stupidity of their death.
you had
Clean
Jedi
sweep.
Master Trinity die by pretty much look over there.
Yeah. Throw a knife.
Distraction. I throw a knife. You're gonna stop
Can't
it.
kill a Jedi with a weapon, by the way.
And just knocked it away. And then like she had to sit there and focus on it, like she's holding a Death Star in place. It's a throwing knife.
Yeah.
Just right. Swat that away with the Force, and then you could be back in time for a defensive stand. Like
she's a master. She should have done both at the same time.
Yeah,
same time. But they don't know that's how that Force stuff works. The thread. They don't know that's how the thread works. And that the reason Jedi can deflect blaster bolts is because the Force gives them like an innate ability to see slightly into the future, like a heartbeat into the future, so they know, and it gives them the ability to speed to block them shots. She's a master. She's not new.
Yeah,
right. Exactly. And not to mention it, if they even want to use their own nonsense, you remember at the beginning of Force Awakens, Kylo Ren Force holds a blaster bolt that's then still in place after he leaves.
So cool. That was such a cool scene that they did not just.
Yeah. It was all right. I mean, I thought he looked like Ghostface when he showed up, like he was all gangly and walking down the
that part I didn't mind at first, but when he came down, he was all right. He first hold a blaster bolt, like you haven't seen that before.
Yeah,
and then they didn't build on it, and didn't build on it.
So you would think that this is their movie. You know what I mean? It's not even 10 years old. It's almost 10 years old, actually. Wow, imagine that. It's been 10 years of this bullshit. But like, no, she had to die to the bolt, and then we get the stupidity of I poisoned myself 16 years later because it finally got to me bullshit. Dude, I don't care. Kalnecca off-screen death, dumbest thing in the show so far that isn't like a canon breaking, like a bad piece of writing. It's more of a bad idea. Like it's not a on paper dialogue problem, of which this episode had fucking plenty.
Yep.
Fucking plenty. I mean, I don't know. I don't know beyond. I don't know which conversations are worse at this point. The conversations between Mae and Jackie, which like they're trying to tell me there's chemistry between these two, but dude, awful. Like there isn't chemistry between these two.
And their facial expression while they're having the conversations is just bad.
Like, I don't know which one of the, I know they can both act because I've seen them in other things. So maybe this is a problem with direction, or
definitely direction.
Definitely direction.
Or they're trying to like rogue agent like their own performance. Like, like, oh no, I'm gonna do it this way because I'm the man, or I'm the woman, or the woman, or wominx, or I don't know what the fuck these people call themselves anymore.
Oh.
But that's a bad set of conversations. The conversations between Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, and Saul, these are bad now too, because it's a continual loop of, we're both going to face our past. We're both going to face our past. You still love your sister. She's a murderer. Yeah, but there's still good in her. What?
I felt it.
Like, no, you're not Luke, and she's not Vader. And we don't know any of you because you've wasted so much goddamn time in this show developing none of these people outside of the immediate situation they're in at all, because you have a 25-minute runtime like a cartoon. That's the problem here. Like, imagine, dude, let me posit this to you, right? You got 8 episodes to do this show. Right?
Okay.
You get a budget of $180 million, right? Which, again, as I stated in my House of the Dragon season 2 episode 1 video, please go check that out. I'd like to get a couple more eyeballs on that. Has the similar budget to within a $10 million mark, something like that. It was 100. I think it was 10 million less. They're giving you more episodes and double the runtime every week. They have dragons in every episode, not just standing there, not just sleeping on the ground, flying, dog fighting in the air, flame breaths, like grabbing things in the world, like stone parapets and sheep and flying away and shit. Like they're interactive living things in the show.
Mm-hmm.
So if I gave you 180 million, 8 to 10 episodes, you needed to run it for an hour. If you wanted me to believe that these two women had feelings for each other after only having known each other for like a day, because let's not forget how much time is actually elapsed in this show when you remove the flashback. It's like a day and a half.
For parent time, because you don't know how long
and they're trying to pull jokes like, "Oh, will you miss me when I'm gone?" Like, dude, like how would you write? Like I know how you'd write it different, but I just want you to give our our viewers like a little bit of insight. Like, if you want me to believe these people are into each other, how do you write that?
So, one, you would have to show time actually passing, because you don't see time passing in this, other than it turning dark in this episode. You would also have to show more interaction between them, like let's see, episode 1 where she gets arrested, have the Padawan, the one who's like controlling her, and them having conversation and like getting to know each other, having that that soft initial conversation. You go into episode 2 where the Padawan is put in charge of her safety. And then they'll grow together. Like there might be a scene where even though the Padawan's supposed to have the force and stuff like that, the other one is force sensitive, and somehow she does something to help the Padawan while the Padawan also saves her, like a back and forth. So they grow a bond together.
Face some conflict together. Right.
Yeah. Yep. And then in this one where she's saying she's leaving, you would actually say, "Hey, we've had some good times together." And like you would have a longer path. You would also have the time that they left Tomlin's planet and head back to Coruscant.
Olega, I think was that one. I think
it was later, something like that. Yeah.
Olega, yeah, something like that. Right. So the passage of time, you would have been able to insert like a scene or two per episode with a proper runtime, so you could build that bond. You could have also, on a similar note, when Osha rejoins Saul, I think they call him Soul to differentiate.
It's Soul, S-O-L. His name's spelled Soul in the in the subtitles,
in the credits. Yep. So you'd have had the same thing. They could, in much the same way the Ahsoka show botched that same relationship between Ahsoka and Sabine. You have to have, because they never actually said what went wrong between Ahsoka and Sabine. That entire run of the episode, it was just it didn't work out. It didn't work out. It didn't work out.
It was pretty much
back.
Sabine did to Ahsoka what Ahsoka did to Anakin.
Pretty much like turned her back and walked like, "Oh, this isn't for me. I'm out."
Yep.
Right. This show could have had it with proper runtime and proper writing. You could have had hints at why she left. They could have come to a head later and said some nonsense like, what, regardless of the path they wanted to take, whether it was going to be obstinance, like, "Oh, I left because you were a terrible teacher and I wanted to do more," and blah, 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 blah. Or she could have been the apologetic one, the reconciliatory one, where she said, "I wasn't ready. It was my bad. I'm ready to learn now if you'll still have me," or whichever road they wanted to go. But you pepper in a couple of scenes per episode to get there, and then you have the payoff when one of these dipshits has to die for the other one later. And we can't have that in this show, because when that happens in episode, what do we get here? 8, 6? I don't even remember how many there are.
We're halfway through.
Or so there's 8, right? So when they have that, it's inevitable. It's Thanos. It's an inevitable scene that Saul dies for this chick, 100%. And we haven't even talked about that yet, about the what really happened.
Yeah, which he said he's going to tell her what really happened later.
So I'm guessing episode 5 is a flashback next week, or partially a flashback that might
Yeah.
investigate some of those things. We'll get to that next week.
Here's what you
I mean,
think happened, but here's what
right.
really happened type
So
clue type.
right. So we'll hold all our judgment on that till they show us, because I still think they're going to botch that into oblivion, where they're going to actually try to sell me on the fact that the Jedi went out there to massacre that coven to get the 2 kids. I'll
No, they
never
died of
accept that.
boredom. Best
Dude,
comment of
I
the
almost
week.
had, dude, that was awesome. That was great, dude. I
No,
love
I
bringing
have a
that up.
new one. I have a new one. So
Maybe that's what we should do going forward, is farm the best comments or best reviews and just have like a 2-minute segment on that.
So the Facebook Star Wars fan site, there's tons of them, and like some of the people on there, I think they're paid by Disney to defend this show. Like they defend this show like it's their job. And then, but there's, but you know, the normal fans are in there telling them how bad it is. And one person's like, after watching this episode, I felt so bad. I went to Rotten Tomatoes and gave the Star Wars holiday show a 5-star review.
Yeah, there it is. Dude, that's money. That's money to have to. I mean, let's talk about those reviews just for a quick second, right? So reviews on the tomatoes are in the toilet, obviously, dude. I don't care how many 1-star, like if there's bots on both sides. You have to just accept that. Somebody's paying to shit on this show. Other people are paying to defense it. But what you can do for yourself is read the quality of reviews and just decide for yourself. Nobody in a 5-star review has anything technical to say about this show at all that holds up anything it does right, except I believe in a couple of instances, as we have been fair with it, talked about things like some set dressing, some of the establishing shots, some of the visuals, the score, Saul's performance in particular. But nobody's out there saying any of the writing has any kind of gut punch.
No, the writing is pretty much the major
the power of 2.
Yeah, the writing's a major level of criticism through both the critics and the fans. I'm guessing the critics are bombing this as well, because I mean it dropped from 93 before it was released to, was it 84 now, 82 now,
80,
like
83ish. It's about 10 down. Yep.
Yeah.
Because I think they saw the writing on the wall for that whole thing. Man, like when we talk about those reviews, the negative reviews, be they 1s, 2s, 3s, whatever. When you can list 3 or 4 different things that have nothing to do with what you're being criticized as for being the critic, like no one's talking about there shouldn't be black female leads. Nobody cares about. I honest to God don't think anybody cares about that.
No one cares about that. No one cares about the twins here. That
Space Witches.
They don't care about that part.
Write them better. Write them better.
Yeah. That's what we're throwing down the gauntlet. It's like, you are supposed to be professionals. You're the ones who are supposed to have, the gatekeepers and everything, who don't let independent people come out there and make their films, because you keep them going to film festivals when they should be able to get time like you have. You can imagine what an independent filmmaker who actually cares about their product could do if they had a platform like Disney Plus to be able to put their stuff on, or if they had the access to have their stuff in theaters, like the crap movies Star Wars has put out. I mean, come on. I mean, Disney has their 9th bomb in a row with this show. They have not hit once, other than Andor, on their shows, except for I'll say Mando season 1 and 2, and Andor. None of their Marvel shows hit. Like certain points, like you have your favorite characters, you're happy to see it, but like none of them have been like must see TV. Like Game of Thrones was when it came out, when The Sopranos came out, when Band of Brothers came out. It's nothing like that. So you have them trying to tell us what the market should be. Yeah, they're trying to tell us what the market should be instead of what it is. You bash your fans who are supposed to be your set money base. When you have an IP like Star Wars, like Marvel, like Harry Potter, like that, you have a built-in fan base. And when you sit there and tell them that they don't matter because you want to get someone else, you're just throwing money down the toilet. So yeah, but back to my original point. Imagine what an independent filmmaker made.
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback on that point, as we wrap up, like I don't know. Like in the beginning, people critical of these shows, we were often labeled like conspiracy theorists in a way when we point out, there's a messaging to this show that's paramount to the people making it. They have the money and they're using it for social engineering purposes with shows. Like,
Yep.
they're trying to put their way of thinking in front of people and normalize whatever aspect of the message TM. They're trying to normalize those kind of things, and they do that by putting it in front of people, particularly kids. So the more we watch these shows, like you said, you've had like 9 bombs in a row, right? Everything you do tanks. It's objectively true because with the limited data we can get our hands on from review aggregates and from people that actually can post watch minutes and views and things like that. As I said in my independent, Lucas needs to look in the mirror video. Like the percentages for all your things drop except for isolated things here and there that had built-in fan bases, but then even they don't leg out in the end. Like Ahsoka was a jump in the Rotten Tomatoes meter, but the number of people that finished watching all 8 of those episodes, I think that was only 6 actually on Ahsoka, if I remember right. The number of people that watch through the end is lower each project out. Like they don't hit back up. So they can only trend down. So a show like The Acolyte, which again, if it was Kathleen Kennedy's design to do the whole, let's get an all-woman crew, let's get a female director, female writers, let's do this. Like, you know what, they're making fun of us for the Force is female. Let's give them the Force is female. And then you did. All right. You've got record low viewership. Women that are Star Wars fans don't like this either. I saw numbers the other day that were suggesting that there's been like whatever massive percentage drop in females watching this show is bigger than the guys watching the show. Like, women are smarter than we are, dude. Like when something sucks, they just check out.
Yeah.
Like, they just stop watching. There's not a whole lot of female hosts dunking on this show on live streams. There's plenty of people in the circle come up on live streams and things, or they're on panels and stuff. But I don't see a lot of female channels shitting on this show. But I also don't see any channels like talking it up. Like, where are the channels that are like, rah, the Acolyte is the dopest thing in Star Wars since Empire? Like, they're not out there, guy.
It's not
because
out there.
The message sold out the franchise, the social engineer, and destroy old stuff that people were into to get us all uppity and angry and not liking stuff and demoralized. It's cynical, but I no longer think it's conspiracy. I think it's true. Because the ROI on this show is $0.
So I did see a review that said that us fans hold Star Wars to a much higher light because of the first 3 movies. Everything since then has been garbage, and we keep trying to hold on to that nostalgia feel of it. And this is the new Star Wars. And I'm starting to believe that's true because, I mean, as I said, I was doing research into bad dialogue and good dialogue. Do you know how many bad dialogue scenes that Anakin had in the prequels?
All of them.
Like his whole
liar, and I hate you to Obi-Wan and Sith.
Or where he was like, I hate sand. It's coarse.
Yeah, that's a joke now, dude. That's a meme.
Yeah.
At this point, but the movies themselves on a craft level are good. You know what I mean? They look good. They're scored well. The fight choreography is amazing. The performances are decent even when the dialogue is weak. And you can see the arcs people go through. You can see the mysteries that they're trying to unveil, like when Obi-Wan's trying to solve the clone mystery in Attack of the Clones. And he's trying to figure out, wait, who ordered the clone army? There is no Grand Army of the Republic. What the hell? Like, so there's interesting things going on. And they managed to bang that out in 2 hours. This effing show's had 2.5 hours so far. And let's break this down and then get out of here, right? Dude, how much more do you know about Jackie than you did in episode 1, other than that she might be in a girl's? Not a damn thing. How much more do you know about Yord, a bad haircut guy, Jedi, than you did in episode 1, other than he might have a hard-on for Osha because she bailed while they were little? Not a fucking thing. How much more do you know about Saul in episode 4 than you did in episode 1? Saul. I'm so fuck this show, right? Nothing. We know nothing. The green chick who I had an inkling maybe she was involved on some level. Dude, you know nothing about her. We know nothing about the other named characters that suddenly showed up on this council in episode 4 this week to not tell the Supreme Council that Yoda is on in this timeline. Yoda is alive and he's a master on the Supreme Council, and these assholes aren't reporting to him or Mace Windu if he's alive. I don't know.
I don't think Mace is around.
He might not be there yet, right? But Yoda is, and he is a master on this timeline. And you dickweeds are trying to tell me that we're just gallivanting around doing stupid non-developmental shit without telling the green guy? No, bro. Dude, these characters are trash. It's got nothing to do with right-wing talking points or dog whistles. Nobody cares, dude. I just started watching the other day for point of reference. Dude, I watched a bunch of episodes of Babylon 5, a bunch of episodes of Andromeda. I went back and watched some Deep Space Nine, TNG, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica revival from like '05 or whatever that was. And you know what? Every effing one of those shows had a diverse cast. All of them. Sorry, it's just they're shields that you jackasses use to prevent criticism. You think, but we're all over that because that's the reality. You guys got to learn now is we don't care about the names you call us anymore. There's more of us than there are of you, and I don't say that in a threatening way. I say that in a reality way. The minute they return this show to its proper roots in both in the craft of storytelling and with the intent of not trying to message or propagandize children or anything like that, your shows will do better because you do have the occasional bump in things where you separate that kind of agenda telling nonsense and you actually profit and do well when you leave that stuff out.
Yeah.
So again, it's not a profit driven motive and it needs to be, but until the companies that back Disney with investment dollars and until ESG money dries up from like the governments and things like that, where they can just offset and subsidize your shit story. It's the reason why Doctor Who will never recover. As long as it's BBC money and not privately funded money making like the shows happen, they just churn out the bullshit they want. And Disney operates in the same way. Dude, I don't know. You want to do a score for this week just relative to the other 3 episodes of just this show?
I do want to hit on the tease that I put earlier where I had some inside stuff that I read. So
dude, take your time, man. Yeah,
it's coming out on Memos, and someone reported on it on a channel. I can't remember what it was, but they had links, even though I'm still trying to find the link. So I do not have an actual source, but they're saying that due to the poor reception of the Acolyte, the High Republic movie has been scrapped completely now as a punishment to Kathleen Kennedy.
Which one was the High Republic movie? Were they doing that? I don't even remember that.
They were supposed to do one in this timeline of the Acolyte. Remember, they're supposed to do the past, present, and future. Kathleen Kennedy's
but I thought the past was way past. I thought it was like way back.
That was still supposed to be High Republic time.
Oh, I thought it was going way past that. Oh, interesting, dude. I hadn't heard that story. You should look that up and get a link in the description.
Yeah, I'm still looking up the link for that. I will definitely get that up as soon as I find it. But they said they scrapped that.
Should. Dude, they should scrap the Rey movie, dude. That movie's gonna bomb, and it's nothing against Daisy Ridley. She seems like a perfectly lovely woman in interviews and things like that. I don't know how great she is as an actress, but I mean, it's not like Star Wars actors have been known for winning like Academy Awards for performance.
Hayden Christensen.
I mean, dude, even Harrison Ford or Mark Hamill in the OGs, like the characters were good and they were taken seriously, so people enjoyed them. You know, like, dude, I'm good with Daisy Ridley. Dude, I saw a thing on an article. I almost put that up on your screen to put up in our video here, where it was like, Bryce Dallas Howard may be the first woman to direct a Star Wars. So I'm like, okay, first of all, I've heard that rumor for like 10 years now since she did episodes of Mando, right? But like, second of all, why is that the headline of an article? Like, who gives a shit? It doesn't matter if she's the director. If the story blows and is written by these fanfic amateurs that gave us this show, you could put the best director on the planet in front of that to shoot and it won't save it. It doesn't matter. Like, it honestly doesn't matter who's behind the camera if the script they're working from is garbage. And I don't do you honestly see them putting together any kind of compelling feature-length film present day? I don't, dude. I don't care about the Mando Grogu movie. I could give a shit about that. I've seen that movie. It was called Mando Season 1 and 2. Like I don't get it. Again, outside of the conspiracy theory bullshit, they're not making money. They should be interested in doing that, but because they don't have a profit incentive to do that, because they're subsidized, that eliminates like that controlling mechanism of capital.
Disney, they own everything.
Right. Like they have money rolling in from other places, like real estate vendors, things like that. All the other
theme parks and
theme parks had record revenue the other year, but they didn't have record profits because it was a price hike. So the theme parks aren't doing as well as they want. But that's neither here nor there. We're not financial guys. We just tell you about the story we see in front of us, dude. I'm going to insist. Rate this episode out of 10 based only on this show. Don't compare it to anything else outside of this show.
Let me stand through it, and I'm done. And
It's like
let's just hope
we
that
didn't
the
even talk
stomach.
about the end, really. Like
Oh,
Smilo Ren, we didn't even talk about that scene. I guess I just didn't care.
yeah, because it didn't matter. I mean,
Yeah,
the show is whose line is it anyways? Where the rules are made up and the points don't count. So yeah.
that's a that's
So
perfect.
what rating scheme are we talking about here? We're going to do a
Just
baseball analogy
dude, no,
or
just dude. I care so little about this show, other than it's when we get to talk each week. So, like, I don't know. I don't even need a creative analogy, dude. Just give me a 10 score.
10
Like, I gotta
score?
go make a burrito or something. I'm hungry anyway. Like, it's been a long day.
2.1 because I like the coloring.
Dude, I was gonna say two. It's funny that we come up on these same numbers almost most of the time. Dude, I struggled earlier because I knew I was gonna ask you for a 10 spot on this. Like, I was like, I'm gonna ask
Mhm.
him for a 10 spot today. I tried honestly to give it 3, and I just couldn't because like where it was scoring high enough, or not high enough, but like the higher points of the episode previously were sold. Like the performance, like his effort. And now I just don't care.
I got one more thing. Why we were watching this episode,
Oh, yeah.
there was that scene where they're walking through the woods and they had
Oh, dude.
the pod things.
Flying
I
roly polies.
I sat there and I looked at my wife and I'm like, and I'm doing it beat for beat. What's exactly about to happen? I'm like,
Yeah,
and now she's going to touch it,
to touch one.
and now the pod is gone, and it's going to
And she'll
detect.
stare at it like she doesn't understand that it's gone.
Yeah,
She'll see it moving. Yeah. Dude,
dude, I did it beat for beat.
dude,
Like, oh, I
but
just
you know what?
touch it.
Dude, let's do 2 minutes of bonus coverage here. Because there's two stupid things that come out of that. Number one, we get her performance in that where she looks back where the thing that was literally, I don't know, the size of 3 or 4 beach balls on top of each other is now
Yeah,
gone at a
yeah,
distance of arm's length. And she tracks it through the trees, and Soul lights it up and cuts it in half with a lightsaber.
yeah,
Later on, she says to Jackie, I'm bummed because I sensed that creature and now it's dead. And I'm like, first of all, you sense nothing. There were 40 of them. It was chest level and you touched it. It was
yep,
within your visual field. You sensed nothing. And then you heard it leave. Stop being pseudo fucking spiritual meta. Like, you're not, this isn't the force. That's not how the force works. We need to splice that clip in. Right. And then two, the Jackie chick is like, it's always an honor to be present when something turns back to the force. And I'm like, were you there for Order 66 when the younglings died in the temple? Because there was nothing good about that. Like Jedi being massacred, not a good thing. Atrocities being occurring in the galaxy around you, not a good thing.
I think she was one of the ones that was killed. Like when they cut to the scenes of the Jedi's being killed, I think she was actually one of them that got shot in the back by Order 66.
Dude, we can do it. I hope so, because I hate that character, because again, I know nothing about her, so I just don't care. That's the crux of my criticism of the show. I give it a 2.0 because I don't care about any of it. But it looks better still. Like, they did spend some of their $180 million on what's on the screen in some places. But there's also a lot of reuse of, like, you can tell that a set is just being shot from like left to right instead of right to left. Like, it's mirrored. So it's on one planet facing this way, but on another planet, it's this way. Like, so you can tell they were frugal in a bunch of spots too. But I don't care about this show. Let's watch the last 4 episodes and laugh every week and have a fun time with it. Guys, we appreciate you coming through and checking out the video. We know this one ran a little long, but it's worth listening to us dunk on it instead of you going to watch it, which is another thing. Please do not give them extra views. Take our word for it. It sucks. Go watch other better channels, or more articulate, higher production value channels that have their shit together, and get their analysis on this show. Don't give Disney Plus the views. I heard somebody say, if you're going to watch it, like if you're in a position to watch it at a friend's house, get 5, 6, 7 people together, make a night of it, get some food, order out, have a party, and just take turns dunking on it while you're there. But don't give them 10 views if you can just give them one. They need to get they need their own message. And the message needs to come from fans back at these clowns that enough is enough. We don't need any more new Star Wars at this point. Put it on the shelf for like a decade. Get all these jackasses out of Lucasfilms and come at it fresh, or better yet, just let other people have their time with new IPs. That's all I got to say on